Yes, go ahead. You're checking
We're
out.
going to be translating most of the afternoon here in English, Spanish to English, so be patient. If you're in the language that's not yours, just wait on the other.
Look at me.
Around.
Or we play it on, Jordan.
One thing we can do also is look at your cell phone or your tablet, and you know how we always have it on silent mode.
JP.
Due to the light range, we're slightly delayed, but it's not going to be one of those 1 hour wait times. The bread is very sharp to be on time. We're going to start once we got the board outside lined up. Also remember that estaba mencionando que estamos por empezar, vamos a empezar a tiempo simplemente. Porque no se está por un poquito We can actually use this statute for one announcement, so we don't have to make it at the end. At the very end, already, we're going to use the whole here for some pictures. Although we appreciate all your congratulations, if you can make those brief on the way out at the end of the wedding, we appreciate it, so that they can come back up and take some pictures with the families. Families to remain in place so they can be in position for family and friends to talk to you for pictures. They're going to come out in the album. And then over at the reception, we'll have plenty of time to talk to them more thoroughly. Some any advice for them, foreigners on how to have a great marriage. You can tell them that they're at the reception. Entonces, un recordatorio, uno no se quiere conocer, lo hacemos ahora, me adelantando. Hay que salir al lugar de la recepción y ellos necesitan un tiempo para tirarse fotos. Entonces, estamos viendo que la familia se quede a la fotografía, pero lo demás, cuando den sus felicidades, que lo hagan relativamente rápido, ¿no? En la salida. Porque ellos tienen que venir luego, tirarse fotos. Si quieren darle consejo para el matrimonio, se lo pueden dar allá en el lugar de la recepción. married here. It's a great privilege to be in the same hall. In 2006, years ago, I ended up marrying off my sister to another pair, also on the same state. So it's just coincidence, but it's a beautiful thing. And actually, the reason that we're here, Jordan and Daniella, is because we're going to build a castle. You know how when you're getting married, you want to be a princess, and you want to find a prince, you want to live in a castle. So we're going to compare your marriage to a castle. Okay, but regretfully, many castles end up in divorce. Everybody starts off really nice. Half the people in this country that get married actually end up in divorce. You want to know why that is? Because they build their castles in the sky. They're dreamers. The castle is not well founded, and therefore it crumbles apart. So I'm going to say this in Spanish. I'm talking to you guys, so you can get this talk twice. So you can really sink in. Estamos aquí para edificar un capillo. Y los capillos empiezan muy bonitos, los matrimonios quieren ser un príncipe, una princesa, pero a veces la mitad de esos matrimonios terminan en divorcio. La razón es que hacen su castillo en el aire. No están basados en una buena fundación que pueda sostener su matrimonio. So we figured that for you it would be particularly appropriate to have a talk based on construction, and being a mason and all of the bride's father, and you actually meeting surrounded by theocratic construction. In fact, you all met at an RBC site, and you met right there inside the trenches, working in construction, supporting Jehovah. And we thought, how appropriate then that maybe we should build the illustration around something that they is dear to their heart. In fact, Ken said some words last night too, and so we think alike. Ellos se conocieron en una obra de construcción democrática, por eso pensamos que sería apropiado quizás tener una ilustración para su discurso de matrimonio basada también en la construcción. Se conocieron en las trincheras, mezclando concreto, y así fue como ellos empezaron. Están literalmente dentro de las trincheras, como uno de los reyes. I'm saying that you were in the trenches, literally, is how you. So from the beginning, you were working on the proper groundwork. Now, as you know, when you're going to lay a proper foundation to build your castle, you need concrete. And you need a structural engineer that's going to design how you build the formwork where this concrete is going to go into. And then concrete, as we know, is, of course, aggregate, which is the gravel, sand, it's kind of the root part, and a finer Portland cement, which is kind of a more refined color. Add water, those two bind together into the form as per the structural engineer. So in the marriage arrangement, Jehovah is the structural engineer. En este arreglo, en la construcción, como ustedes saben, para hacer una fundación apropiada, ustedes necesitan un ingeniero estructural. Necesitan un encofrado y ese ingeniero dice cómo se arma ese encofrado. Y entonces el concreto entra ahí, pero el concreto es un agregado tosco, un material como de gravilla, arena gruesa, y un material más fino de cemento. Se echa agua y se une, no hay quien lo separe. So in this case, Jehovah wants you to do exactly that. He wants you to bind together, and that's the purpose of this arrangement. Let's go to Genesis chapter 2. We'll read to you Genesis chapter 2, verse 21, 22, and 24. Genesis chapter 2, verse 21, 22, and 24. Hermano, vamos a estar leyendo los versículos en inglés, pero puede seguir la lectura de Génesis capítulo 2, versículos 21 y 22 y el 24. Genesis chapter 2, verse 21, 22, and 24. So Jehovah God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep. And while he was sleeping, he took one of his ribs and then closed up the flesh over its place. And Jehovah God built the rib that he had taken from the man into a woman, and he brought her to the man. 24 says, and that is why a man will leave his father and his mother, and he will stick to his wife, and they will become one flesh. So the idea that Jehovah had in mind from the very beginning is that Jordan leaves Lacey and I, and the other leaves child and hands, and you two stick together to form one flesh. And just like concrete binds together and then strengthens, and you can't separate it once it binds, that's the way you're supposed to do it. Of course, in our illustration, Daniella, you were the finer Portland cement with a finer quality. And some that would make you be coarse aggregate. En nuestra ilustración, Daniella es el material de cemento fino y vivo es el agregado costo en el caso de este concreto. The water is what bonds you together, it's the love. El agua es el amor, la unión, and now you're coming together. But how do you ensure that you're built to last? How do you ensure that your foundation is built to last? ¿Cómo se asegura de que su fundación esté bien cimentada, hecha para durar? Well, the funny thing about concrete, it's very strong in compression. Just like the love you have for each other now, it's very strong to bind you together. But concrete is very weak in tension. So when there's an exterior force that pulls on it, it tends to easily crack. So if somebody's building a bridge and they just pour concrete in a form, but they don't reinforce it, it can easily crack when it's under tension. So how do you resolve that? Well, you need to reinforce that concrete. And what you do is you add steel. You add rebar. Rebar is short for reinforcement bar. But what is the rebar for your marriage? What's going to reinforce your marriage when tension comes? Well, Jehovah's a structural engineer, but he then takes the shape of a reinforcement bar and he joins you in marriage. And you're to adhere to Jehovah. And then when tension comes, you will not crack. Let me say this in Spanish. En el arreglo del matrimonio, ¿cómo ellos pueden asegurarse de que su matrimonio esté bien fundado y no se raje? Porque el concreto tiene algo, el concreto es muy fuerte en compresión, una fuerza interna, se pega, pero es muy débil en tensión. Cuando hay tensión tiende a vaciarse. Por eso si alguien hace un puente, necesita reforzarse concreto o si no se fuerte. ¿Y cómo se refuerza concreto? Añadiendo la cabilla, una cabilla de refuerzo. La cabilla es extremadamente fuerte en tensión. Entonces el concreto se amarra a la cabilla y no permite que se fuerte. In fact, it's so strong when it's reinforced concrete that even if you take a sledgehammer to it, and Jordan, I remember over in English Perrine, we were doing pretty well on the wall in English Perrine because we were hitting empty block cells. Then we got over to the corner and you swung your hammer and you hit reinforced concrete. You remember what that felt like? It reverberates back into each other. Well, that's how your marriage has to be. If Satan comes, or if anyone comes to try to hurt your marriage, then you're to be reinforced, hang on to Jehovah, and you will take the blows, and you will not crack, because you're reinforced by your love to each other and to Jehovah. En el caso de un completo reforzado, se hace tan fuerte que incluso puede hasta recibir los golpes de una maldad. Y en una de las obras, él tuvo la oportunidad de estarle dando bloque pasivo y llegar a una esquina reforzada y sintió lo que se siente cuando uno tiene ese mandarriazo y se lo siente en el espinazo, ¿no? Cuando está reforzado el concreto. Y así queremos que sea lo que sea que le dé golpe a su matrimonio y le cause tensión, nunca van a rajarse porque están los dos adheriéndose a Jehová y nunca se van a rajar. That way Jehovah becomes himself, as it says in Ecclesiastes 4:12, the threefold cord. So he describes himself in that third element that you need to hang on to. How do you do that? You read the Bible daily, you pray, and you worship together. And that's how you're building a proper foundation to build your castle. It's not going to be a castle in the sky. You worry about building it right with your love to Jehovah. Entonces es muy importante que ustedes se adhieran a Jehová. Y eso va a permitir que aguanten cualquier golpe que venga, porque son un completo reforzado. En Eclesiastes 4:12, Jehová dice que es la triple cuerda. Así que él mismo se introduce en el matrimonio para ayudarlos a ustedes a tener buenos cimientos que puedan aguantar y van a poder edificar un castillo no en el aire, sino bien fundado sobre la palabra de Dios. Tienen que leer la Biblia todos los días, orar todos los días y adorar juntos a Jehová en su vida. Now, we mentioned that when it goes in, the structural engineer designs the formwork. And also at the Ulita project, which the brothers are seeing now, we actually worked on the formwork. You worked on the formwork as well, I remember. So you know exactly what it looks like. And you don't just throw anything in. There has to be a certain type of reinforced concrete in a certain amount to go into the formwork the right way. And in the same way, Jehovah has designed this formwork of the marriage, where each of you come together, but each of you play a part. And each of you have to hold your position for this to work. En el arreglo del matrimonio, Jehová es el diseñador del encofrado. Jehová decide cómo entran ustedes. Es como cuando nosotros preparamos un encofrado de verdad en la construcción, no es cualquier tipo de concreto, ni es cualquier cantidad. Hay un diseño para cómo meterlo en ese encofrado. Y Jehová tiene directrices para cada uno de ustedes, que es un papel que ustedes deben tener. So Jordan, we're going to start with you. Your position is to be
head of household. And although for our illustration you are the coarse aggregate, you're not to be coarse in treatment of your wife. And you're never to be rude or tough. You're to exert your headship in imitation of Jesus. Entonces empezamos con Jordan y el consejo que tiene que va para ti. Tú eres el agregado grueso, el agregado toso en nuestra ilustración, pero no puedes ser topo al tratar con el toso. Tienes que tratar a tu esposa en imitación a Cristo. And you can see this in Ephesians chapter 5. We're going to read for you, Jordan, chapter 5, verses 25, 28, 29. Efesios capítulo 5, versículos 25, 28 y 29. Vamos a leer el aplicado. Husbands, continue loving your wives just as the Christ also loved the congregation and gave himself up for it. In the same way, husbands should love their wives as their own bodies. A man who loves his wife loves himself. For no man ever hated his own body, but he feeds and cherishes it, just as Christ does the congregation. So if we understand this, what Jehovah is saying is, just like Jesus treated the congregation, Jehovah expects you to treat them. And we've been reading in our weekly reading of the Bible in Matthew, and you've been reading how Jesus treated people. Jesus' facial expressions, the way he went beyond what was necessary to show love. When we read that in Matthew, it touches us. And we're motivated to love Jesus, to respect Jesus. We say, what a loving person. And that's the way we want to deal with people about you. You're never to be coarse, even in the facial expressions, the words that you choose to talk to her. Show her love every time. And you're going to be able to do something that this past week's Watchtower said. It said, in one paragraph, you don't demand, a loving husband doesn't demand respect from his wife. He gains her respect. So you love her so much where she can't help but respect you. She'll look up to you just like the congregation looks up to Jesus. He says in Spanish. Según Efesios, entonces, básicamente tú tienes que tratar a Daniela no como el agregado toso, sino en imitación de Cristo. ¿Y cómo trató el Cristo a la congregación? Con mucho amor. En la lectura semanal de esta semana de Mateo, cuando leemos sobre Jesús y cómo curó a la persona y le mostró cariño, hasta podemos imaginarnos sus expresiones faciales. Y todo eso debes de pensar acerca de contenido. Porque no solo lo que se dice, sino cómo se dice, las expresiones faciales tienes que esforzarte para que ella entonces sienta constante amor de tu parte. Eso va a ser, como dijo la Tabaya la semana pasada, el esposo amoroso no exige que su esposa lo respete, se gana el respeto de su esposa. Y esa es tu posición, hijo, como cabeza de la familia. No un dictador, sino un esposo que imita a Jesús. Now what about Daniella? You're the fine irrelevant. You're the Portland cement. Right? The Portland cement is the glue part of the concrete. It's the one that binds it together. So how do you become that wife that we all want, that's dearly loved? And how do you work to keep your marriage together? How do you play your position? Daniela hace el papel del cemento, material más fino. Ese es el material que une el cemento. ¿Cómo mantiene unido su matrimonio? ¿Qué papel juega ella? Let's go to Ephesians again, chapter 5, and now let's read verses 22 through 24, and then verse 33. Vamos a Efesios capítulo 5, versículos 22 al 24, y luego el versículo 33. Let wives be in subjection to their husbands, as is the Lord, because a husband is head of his wife just as the Christ is head of the congregation, he being a savior of this body. In fact, as the congregation is in subjection to the Christ, wives should also be to their husbands in everything. Verse 33. Nevertheless, each one of you must love his wife as he does himself. On the other hand, the wife should have deep respect for her husband. You notice how it's not just respect. That verse says deep respect. And if you see the illustration of Paul using here on your side, you're like the congregation. So how does the congregation show subjection to Christ? The congregation sees Christ's love and they feel compelled to be subject to him. Entonces, en este caso, Daniela, tú tienes que tenerle profundo respeto a Dios. Y tú haces el papel de la congregación en esta situación de Pablo. Tú te sometes, eres sumisa como la congregación lo es a Cristo. Cristo ama a la congregación y tú muestras entonces una sumisión voluntaria. Eres feliz al estar trabajando con tu esposo. Y yo sé que tú eres dirigente. Yo te he visto trabajar físicamente. Proverbios 31 días dice, ¿quién Yo diría, aquel que busca en construcción total. Diría yo esa respuesta. I added on in Spanish that Daniella, I know, to be a hard worker ever since I first met her. Proverbs 31:10 says, who can find a capable wife? And I would answer, an RBC volunteer. Because I saw her work really hard. I know she worked just as hard to make her marriage a success. So remember, whatever decision Jordan makes, you will work hard to make that decision succeed. Cualquier decisión que tome Jordan, tú vas a esforzarte por hacer que esa decisión tenga éxito. Así que tú vas a ser una esposa sumisa. And that way both are playing your proper role into this marriage. And how do you strengthen your marriage? It's interesting about concrete, it never really stops curing. And even in a small molecular level, 50 years later, the concrete is still getting stronger every single day that goes by. And that's what we want for your marriage as well. But how do you strengthen your marriage every single day? Interesante que usted nunca deja de curarse y 50 años después está haciendo todavía más y más fuerte. Eso es lo que queremos que suceda en su vida, fortaleciendo todos los días. Pero ¿cómo hace que se fortalezca todos los días? Well, I brought you a little recipe. And son, don't go, please. I know that the proper thing would have been for me to show you perfectly everything to do. And regrettably, I'm not able to. But I can tell you that I got some of these recipes that if you do them, I'll also into them also. Do better with your money. Les digo le traigo una receta, pero que no se guíe por lo que vio quizás criando, que yo soy un hombre perfecto, pero les prometo que pueda también poner en práctica algunos de estos mismos consejos, orar en ellos y disfrutarlo de tu propia personalidad. So how do you strengthen your marriage every day? First thing is to show love every day. Now that's easy. When you're starting up to this moment, that attraction, that is easy to show love. You show love with your eyes, you show love with your words, you write down love, everything is love, 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 googly eyes. But after the years go by and your marriage is supposed to strengthen, it should be easier to show love. You shouldn't forget it. So show love every day. Lo primero es mostrarse amor todo. En principio es fácil, como novio todo es mirar, si es un amor, esa parte es fácil. Lo difícil cuando van pasando los años, sacar tiempo todos los días para mostrarse amor, pero es sencillo. Lo segundo es conversar con ellos. You need to speak to each other, talk to each other every day, and listen to each other. So not just in passing, oh hi, bye, I gotta go to work, I'm coming back. Two shifts passing in the night. No. You need to talk to each other, sit down, listen to each other every single day. That's how you're strengthening your marriage. Build time for each other. Tienen que conversar todos los días y no cómo va lo que está pasando. Pasar tiempo de calidad juntos, conversando juntos, escuchándose para poder fortalecer su matrimonio. And the other three things are spiritually related. We're going to cover. Pray to Jehovah together every day. Oren a Jehová juntos todos los días. El hermano Gadea, nosotros lo escuchamos, nosotros estábamos ahí en una reunión. Y el hermano Gadea dijo que tiene la costumbre de siempre orar con su esposa. Incluso cuando la sucursal lo asigna a otro lugar, él llama por la noche a Carmen y ora con ella. Y eso nos pareció increíble. Y recuerda, a mí me impactó. Y quiero mejorar en hacer esa costumbre. Siempre quizás orar con tu mamá todas las noches, qué lindo, que es decir, yo oro todos los días. Brother Bene, our former circuit overseer, he was a brother that always had the custom of praying with his wife. In fact, he said when the branch assigned him elsewhere, he would call, and his wife would be waiting. She would not go to bed before getting that call. He would always pray with his wife on a daily basis. And what a beautiful thing to imitate. You read the Bible together every day. You worship together every day. Your family worship. That's how you adhere to Jehovah, and that's how you build your marriage to continue to strengthen every day. Estudian la Biblia juntos, oran juntos, predican juntos, se preparan en la noche de oración familiar, y así es como están fortaleciendo su matrimonio todos los días. Remember, Jehovah is the one that will remove any kind of tension that you might feel inside of your marriage. Just like concrete, continue to get stronger in your marriage every single day. And upon this foundation, you will not be building a castle in the sky, but a marriage that's founded in a life of dedication to Jehovah, a beautiful castle for all to admire for all eternity. Quiero que sepan que si tienen tensión y la van a tener, recuerden que tienen que amarrarse a Jehová. Él es el que elimina la tensión en su matrimonio. Recuerden también la importancia de seguir fortaleciendo su matrimonio diariamente, como si fuera el concreto que se está curando. Si hacen esto sobre estos cimientos, no estarán edificando castillo en el aire, sino un matrimonio que muestra ser un matrimonio fundado en una vida de servicio a Jehová. Un lindo castillo para todos admirar por toda la eternidad. And with this, we now come to the section which is the vows. And we ask, let me say this in Spanish, brothers, so the Spanish brothers know what's going to happen. Hermanos, en esta sección de los votos vamos a estar solamente con idioma. Muchos aquí ya no pasamos, ustedes saben cómo son los votos, se lo pueden imaginar. Entonces, en esta sección va a estar en inglés, pero ustedes van a poder entender muy bien lo que está pasando, ¿no? De todas maneras, si prestamos atención. So for this section, we're going to be in only English, and we ask now the bride and groom to please stand, as well as the witnesses. Brothers Bellas, over here. Are they your clear, line of sight? Excellent. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start with you, Jordan. You're the bridegroom. And we're going to ask you divine law as outlined in the Holy Scriptures for Christian husbands for as long as you both may live.
I do.
Do you, Daniella Restucia, in the presence of Jehovah God and these witnesses, take Jordan George to be your wedded husband, to love and to cherish and deeply respect, in accordance with the divine law as outlined in the Holy Scriptures for Christian wives for as long as you both may live?
I do.
That's excellent. Who gives this woman to be married to this man?
I will give this woman.
Thank you very much, Brother Restucia, for providing the wife that's in shut your teeth. Excellent. Okay, now we're going to go to the actual vows where you repeat after me. I've tried to break it in little sections, so if you don't think you heard something, just ask me. I'll repeat it again. There's no hurry. Okay? It's going to be small, but just so that we don't forget. Now we're going to start again with Jordan. I, Jordan George, take you, Daniella Restucia. Okay, look at her, and it's short, not that short. I, Jordan George, take you, Daniella Restucia, to be my wedded wife.
I, Jordan George, take you, Daniella Restucia, to be my wedded wife.
To love and to cherish, in accordance with the divine law.
To love and to cherish, in accordance with the divine law.
As set forth in the Holy Scriptures for Christian husbands.
As set forth in the Holy Scriptures for Christian husbands.
For as long as we both shall live together on earth.
For as long as we both shall live together on earth.
According to God's marital arrangement.
According to God's marital arrangement.
Very good, son. Good job. Restucia, take you, Jordan George, to be my wedded husband.
I, Daniella Restucia, take you, Jordan George, to be my wedded husband.
To love and to cherish and deeply respect.
To love and to cherish and deeply respect.
In accordance with the divine law.
In accordance with the divine law.
As set forth in the Holy Scriptures for Christian wives.
As set forth in the Holy Scriptures for Christian wives.
For as long as we both shall live together on earth.
For as long as we both shall live together on earth.
According to God's marital arrangement.
According to God's marital arrangement.
Very well done. Very well done. So now is the moment when we call up Brother Limonte with the rings. And we'll have the ring exchange. Forasmuch as Jordan George and Daniella Restucia have covenanted before Jehovah God and these witnesses to accept each other in wedlock, I, as an ordained minister and by the authority conferred upon me by the Holy Scriptures in the state of Florida, pronounce that they are husband and wife together. What God has yoked together, let no man put apart. And we'd like to call up the witnesses now and ask the bride and groom to sign the marriage license once they're in clear view again, and then they will sign as witnesses. Okay, and the witnesses. misses, brothers, fellas. And now we'd like to call my friend, Brother Hans Restucia, father of the bride, to offer a prayer of blessing for our children. Son, you may kiss your wife. It is my happy pleasure to introduce to this marriage gathering Brother and Sister George.